Welcome everyone to another episode of Wildlife Photo Chat video. Today we are going to do a quick catch up with some stuff we shot a little while ago. Actually, because it's been a while since we've recorded an episode. Our schedule had us skip a week. And then we're going to get into using kayaks to photograph wildlife, mainly birds. And then we're going to pick our first choices from our Wildlife Photo Chat Challenge. So that was the high key one that you guys hashtagged, which great response on those. Thank you so much. So stay tuned till the end for us to get to that. And then we will announce our next challenge for the next episode coming up. And then I think that's it. I think that's everything. So we got a packed episode this time. I'm here with Brad as always. I'm coming to you from slightly less exotic spot than normal. We're at a laundromat right now, so it's not always glamorous. But I will say, like, the view out there, we're in Rocky Harbor, Newfoundland, and the view right over there is like pretty incredible. And then as soon as we're done with this laundromat, we're going to go to some really nice places. But yeah, dude, how's it going, man? What you been up to?
Long time no see.
I know. We just saw each other yesterday.
Right? We did. Yeah, that was a nice surprise. I was thinking just a second ago, I said, it's so funny how sometimes, like, your week is slow. You might have one outing here and there. And then all of a sudden, life just throws everything at you. Like, your best friend hits you up and he's like, yeah, I want to come meet me in Bonavista Vista again. Like, that was such a surprise. So that was amazing for all of us to meet up. Yeah.
Well, and then you guys almost weren't able to make it happen with everything going on around you, Right, with all the wildfires and stuff. So yeah, I think we spoke about this in one of the other podcasts that we recently released. And unfortunately, there was a fire like 5 kilometers away from our house. So when you had reached out, like, we were excited about the thought of heading back to Bonavista Vista, all of us, and kind of all shooting together again. And but yeah, up until like the day before we left, we were like, there's no way we can leave. Like, this thing could switch at any moment and come our way. And part of the town we live in was evacuated or on high alert. And but then, just very fortunate that things switched around. They were able to get it put out a nice bit. The weather looked like it was going to change. We had some rain coming, so we were like, we're in. So it was it was awesome, man. It was great. We talked about it while we were there. So we're just going to do like the tiniest recap of that. We're going to actually, there's so much we have already in this episode. We knew we couldn't add our time with the Puffins into this episode. So come back next week where we'll talk all about our experience there. But it's a really different experience for Brad and I because we haven't shot together like that just for fun at the Puffin colony since the first time we ever came up here, me and Emily.
True.
Which was 4 years ago, I want to say.
Yeah.
I think.
It would be 4 now.
Because every other time we've shot at these locations, the seabird colonies, we've been working. And it's still amazing, of course, but it's a very different experience. So
it's a different mindset too, right? Like,
totally.
You're going into it, client focus, educating.
No pressure.
Yeah. Right?
No like just so relaxed. Like, birds don't show up, we're like, who cares? Whatever, like if weather didn't cooperate, whatever, So it was a joy. Plus, we just got to hang out with you guys a little bit more, and it was awesome. I think let me get my cursor going here. Let's jump right into what we've been up to. So this is kind of going back almost 2 weeks. Emily and I were on the west coast of Newfoundland, staying in. This is an area around Lark Harbor. And I guess there's some of these birds are starting to move through. Some of these songbirds. Well, I don't know if they're moving through or if they're just, these are the locals that are transitioning plumage, getting ready to migrate. It's probably more of that this point. But either way.
I think so. Yeah.
Let me bring settings up here just so everybody can take a look at those as we go through. But I got this black pole warbler, and this was just outside. These photos suck, but I just wanted to show like what was around. The pine grosbeak, which was just a cool bird, but this was like right outside the van where we were staying. Fun. Which was neat, Nice. And then I want to give a little plug to this series of photos because we then moved to another area. We stayed in Corner Brook. I was there for mountain biking, but I decided to go out one morning and walk this dirt road for a long time. And I recorded this. So I did a whole behind the scenes video about this. So if you guys watching here on YouTube haven't seen it yet, check it out. It's just songbirds in Newfoundland. And you get to see me actually photograph these robins and how I make photos like this happen. You actually get to see it live, which is really cool.
Really cool.
Had this wonderful family. It was a whole family of black-throated greensword. There was like I want to say it was like at least 4, if not 5 of them. And the juvies just chipping and chirping and begging for food. You know, I got the male here, the female there.
So nice.
So they were both
Female
just
looks nice.
bouncing around, like hanging in this one spot. Then I caught yellow or Wilson's. I think this might actually be Wilson's. Yeah. I thought it was yellow, but then I was like, oh, he does have a little cap there. So
a little small. Yeah. It looks more like Wilson's to me.
Yeah. So I think it was a
Wilson's.
Wilson's.
So tough this time of year.
Dude.
Like to
hilarious.
Identify stuff sometimes. Like,
I feel like I'm really good with East Coast warblers, but I never go out and work with them in the fall. I just never do, you know? So that was really wild. So anyway, that was that like short experience there.
Fun.
And then we'll share some stuff from you and get back to some stuff for me. But geez, dude, here's some actual good photos from Brad.
No. So on this particular morning, I was headed out to the lake that I normally go to photograph some greater yellow legs, and it was that like again go back to that smoky, hazy conditions that we're experiencing, and again it's an unfortunate situation, but it can certainly provide some like incredible lighting situations for photography. So prime example here, like this is a little bit after sunrise, but you're just getting that like crazy reddish golden light just reflecting off the water here. So this was I don't know if it was a female green-winged teal or if it was juvie, so it was like still not that nice. But this little guy kept coming in super close. I was laid flat out, like you can see, you could lay right down by the water's edge, like you can like an inch above the water. So when I saw this light kind of like just glowing off there, I just focused in that area and whatever came in front. So there's different ducks in that location and a bunch of different shorebirds, but this little green-winged teal kept kind of cruising past and feeding in that area. So
I got a couple of questions, man.
Frames.
Well, first off, when I first saw it, I thought it was artificial light. It didn't look like the sun to me, like just with the blue color and then that golden is so crazy. And then is this another bird in the foreground there, or is that a rock? Okay.
Yeah, it's just a little rock, small little rock.
Yeah. Does it bother you?
It does. I hate it.
Me too. Like, and so I was wondering what, because I know you saw it in the moment. So what happened that didn't allow you to move to the right? Did it like?
It all just was so quick.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, like that particular shot was like super, super quick. I was turned looking the other way, and then because there was like no light, that scenario where it's like, oh, okay, wait a minute.
It's all flat.
No sun. I'm like, oh, great. It's going to be nothing. And then all of a sudden it just kind of like popped. So I turned and I saw this little one coming into the area. So I just quickly turned, grabbed frames, and then afterwards realized, oh, rock. I'm like, just never had a chance to move. So
gotcha.
And I thought about trying to clone, and I'm like, I'm not.
Sure. No, it's still an amazing shot. Like it doesn't. It's certainly not one of those like, oh, it ruins a shot to the point of where you can't share it kind of thing. But it definitely is something I noticed, and I was like, I know he didn't miss that. So it's so funny. You're like, I hate it.
I just.
And then the other thing I want to bring up about this
break.
one. It's
like it breaks the symmetry, or like I don't know, it just breaks
it totally
the image
does
up for some reason.
It breaks up the symmetry to me, and it pulls me away from the bird, right? Because I'm like, oh, what is that? It's another roundish, dark silhouetted object. But I was going to say about the silhouette, it's like if you did have a young bird that didn't look that sharp or anything, well, why silhouette it? Who cares? Oh, it's just a shape.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So then same thing, it was like, okay, I'm going to line up. So here now, like I kind of shifted over, no rock, lined up, just waited. And there were a couple spotted sandpipers that flew in at one point just briefly. And they, again, I think they might have been juvie. I can't even remember at this point. But they flew in. So it's almost like this.
Right, I know.
This almost, it's like a little like, I guess you call it like a delta. Like it's just like a section of rocks.
That's a good name.
Kind of
like that.
Floating there. Yeah. And then they would just kind of come across the water and move over to the shoreline where I was. So luckily they just came across. I was able to line this little guy up, and again,
this one's
all about
too.
The light there.
Then you got your yellow legs.
So that's lesser yellow legs, actually. Nice. I believe that one
looks like I would say bill size seems about right for that.
Yeah. So that guy came in and just was able to line everything. I love that spot because you can get so low that all the rocks in the foreground, they're just a little bit wet, and you're kind of getting some of that foreground bokeh.
See, and here those rocks don't matter. Like, isn't that so interesting? No. Like, they blend in here. Them. Yeah. You know, like they kind of work. They're not as bold, and they don't cut that damn vertical line. Like, right, the sparkle here just like kind of fills in the different areas.
Definitely.
Like, it's so, I mean, I just want to kind of point that out. Like, it's so interesting how it's not even just it's the light, right? It's the like where your eye goes, right? So
slices it.
Yeah, the bokeh is all up here, but this is such that vertical neon line. And honestly, if the rock was over here and not intersecting it, probably wouldn't be as bad. You know?
I know.
Yeah,
I know. It's one of those shots where you're like, oh, why didn't I move an inch, or why couldn't like?
But I know in the moment,
so quick.
Yeah.
It was,
for sure.
So quick.
But it's just so cool how sometimes these things work and sometimes they don't. Yeah. And like, I try to teach about this stuff, and it's just like, sometimes I'm like, man, it's just a feeling. Like, I don't know what, you can't say never put something in there or anything. Cause like here it's great, you know?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah. Like I said, in here, it's almost like a framing element in a way. Like it kind of
totally
got that boxed in.
Well, and it actually seems like it minimized the bokeh on the bottom, which makes the top one stronger, right? Because without
I agree. Yep.
Without those rocks there, you're probably getting just as bright sparkle in the foreground.
Oh, definitely.
Which then, again, not bad, right? But if we really want to nitpick and talk about like pulling our eye, keeping our eye to the subject, if it's as bright on the bottom, it might, like you said, right? It's not as keeping you up top. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Exactly. Yeah. They almost compete. So again, like and this is what I love about this location. There's so many different species around that like things are just kind of like happening. You're just like your head is on a swivel because you're looking one direction, then you hear something behind you.
Super fun.
It is. So that location, pretty much every year, there's always a family. I'm thinking they're a family of kingfishers because at times I've seen like 3, and like 2 will chase one around. So it's almost like, so you get these juvies. So I don't know if it's naturally these sticks have been here, but there's like one kind of stick that's like in the area that this kingfisher always use. And dude, I'm just going to do it. I think I'm even going to do it this week. So you have to kind of like walk out into the water onto the opposite side of this little kind of section of the lake, this little pocket, and around kind of like the tall grasses, like almost like cattail grasses, to kind of get in this area. And I really have always wanted to do it, get in there super early, blind, and just get like a really good setup. Because as I'm lid there, like this guy flies in, but he's always like out of reach, and it's always too close to the background. But for whatever reason, this one seemed tame-ish this year. So I was like, when he landed, I'm like, I kind of sat up to my knees. I'm like, oh, okay, he's not moving, he's not flying away. So I kind of scooted my way around so that he couldn't see me down almost at the mouth of this little stream that runs in. And I used the tall grasses as a barrier for me, so he couldn't see. So I had chest waders on, went out into the stream, knelt down, and slowly walked in just so I could then peek around.
How fun.
The grasses were in front, and yeah, it's a cute little shot. There's something about it, I think. Just
man.
I almost wish the top of that perch didn't go that high up in. Like I almost wish it kind of ended near him, so it was like. But I think it was. It was interesting to play with.
And dude, I would say I'm pretty sure, like when you see like all this bronzy color up here, that's juvenile.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, and dude, I've had the same experience with them. Like the juvies are just so much more tolerant, and I guess just not wary they're not wary, but not as much compared to adults. So
exactly.
Yeah, that's really cool, man. It'll be neat to see you kind of work it. Oh, I love this, dude.
Definitely
lays out beautifully.
So after that, then I just kind of went back to the same spot I was lid down. Start shooting some of the greater yellow legs, looking through. So what you see all here is actually a rock that was in front that was getting hit by the light. That was kind of like that warm tone. So just to kind of give something. And then, there's different ducks around. So there's just like one spot where it's like 2 sections of grasses, and they always go in between it. So I was like, oh, I should frame and layer that up as this black duck was just there. And then the way the light was kind of it looked pretty. But what caught my attention is at one point he was preening, so he had his feathers all up.
Oh.
but I never got a frame where like the light was hitting the head just right or something. But it looks super pretty. But I think that it just gives it a different look. I like the layering and such. So
I think it's a really good one too that shows composition facing out, you know?
Yeah.
Like it really works. There's like a nice flow to it. I really like how like there's sort of this dark angled like foreground grass that leads you right down. Yeah. Yeah, it totally works, man.
Yeah, it worked out really well.
That's fun.
So just to give a little context. So at that location, just as the stream begins or kind of leads into the lake, there's just one patch of foliage. Well, I don't know what it is, but it always looks so pretty to me. And it's just like, it's right on the water, like just below this frame is the stream. And I've been trying to get different stuff. I've shot like widgeon in front of it. Greater yellow legs I have, but I haven't got the shot that I really want yet. But anyways, I didn't even realize there was like a stick sticking out through it.
Oh, yeah.
So as I'm shooting like, I don't know, the ducks or whatever, I hear the kingfisher come in and he passed by that other perch and I saw him go by and I turn and sometimes he'll land up in a spruce tree that looks really nice as well that I've been wanting to get him. But all of a sudden I look and I'm like, oh, he's on that.
He's right there.
So I kind of like turn to my back and I'm shooting like down towards my legs that way. And it was like super awkward. And I'm like, I don't want to move. So he allowed me to kind of like frame him up with just all that foliage. And I mean, I know he's, you know, it's like not a distant background, but I just think the uniformity of all the pattern, like it just works really well. It was just, and it's a different kingfisher shot, like, you know, than your typical, just them on a perch and, you know, nice creamy background. That just kind of worked. I think it was interesting.
It really does. It was so funny to me. Yeah. It almost looks like somebody's like manicured like hedgerow or something in like a yard or something, you know? It's very clean in that way.
It's very clean, and that's what I liked about it.
Yeah. This brings up a topic I've been talking about a lot with students lately, which is, and again, this is a hard one to sort of like figure out. It's like, when does a busy background work versus when it doesn't? You know what I mean? Because like there's no denying this is a busy background, right? Yep. But I would say this is busy good, and there is, dude. There's busy good and there's busy bad, and like, other than straight up going, here's an example of good, here's an example of bad, and also understanding there's personal preference, right? Some other photographers might look at this and go, yeah, it's just busy bad. I don't like it. It's too much, right? Yep. But I'm with you. I think the color helps. It's a little bit darker. The pattern of the leaves helps. There's no other like dead twigs and sticks in it that aren't like not pleasing, right? Everything's generally facing the same way, so it's not like chaotic that way.
The direction points almost up towards him a little bit.
Yeah.
It's just something works. Yeah.
It totally does, dude. And I've done the same thing. Like you point your lens sometimes at something, you're like, oh, it's right in the background. This is not going to work. And then you're like, oh, wait, but like this some of these sections are working. Yeah. But yeah, it's a hard thing to sort of teach, and figure out.
I think I agree with you. It's one of those things where you just got to point your camera at it. You just got to look and just see, what works. You'll like, it's almost like a moment will happen. It's like, yeah, that looks nice. It looks clean. It's complementing.
Totally.
The bird stands out enough.
Yeah, that's the other part.
Of course, like there's a little bit of editing with this. Like there's a little bit of toning down of the background, a little bit of darkening of it, pulling the bird just a little bit more. I had
100%
poses where he was like turned a little bit more looking towards me, but I kind of like that flat profile.
Correct.
It kind of made his face stand out a little bit more out of that, more bold. There's times I wish like the foliage above it just starts getting into taller grasses and different things. Like you lose that nice uniform texture, because I kind of wish I could have played with them lower in the frame or whatever. Gotcha. But it's just literally that section. That's it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a fun image. Yeah.
No, it was awesome, man. And then it looks like you wrapped up with some more sweet shorebirds.
Yeah. So I went out one evening again. Like it's just part of this project right now, this time of year, photographing the turnstones, and I wasn't having much luck. And I had them in one particular area out at that that point that I've been photographing them, and things were like amazing. The light was incredible, and things were like almost about. It was like one of these things where it's like almost lining up for incredible shots. It just never played out. So at one point, and there was only one individual there, and he flew back behind me and went out on this larger rock that was like out in the water. So I was like, oh crap. I'm like, and the light was good. I'm like, I'm probably done. Maybe I'll just sit here. And then I'm like, I looked at it and I'm like, I just wait out and see. Like, he was kind of like feeding in an area. I'm like, maybe we can just get some feeding shots, behavioral stuff. So as I start wading out, way in the distance, as you can see here, the sun was reflecting off like a house or something way in the background. Like, right, this is like a couple kilometers away.
Yeah.
Actually, I live like in behind that area, not as far as that light, but like the more whiter you see on the right-hand side.
Oh, okay.
So as I'm wading out, I'm like, oh, that little bit of light. I'm like, if I can get close enough, and I had my 100 to 400, I'm like, at 400, that bokeh ball is going to get bigger.
Yeah.
So as I inched in, so I'm like, at one point, I'm like, just at the, like, my chest waders are here, and it's like, it's creeping to like, oh yeah, I'm like way in there, dude. And I'm like, each step, I'm like, oh my God, if I lose my balance, because like it's larger rocks underneath me. This isn't like sand or nothing. Like, if I lose my balance, I'm taking a dip. I just kept thinking, push my hand up, right? Push the camera up if I do.
Totally.
Yeah, so he just kept feeding, and it's so funny, like, again, I think it's one of these things where, like, as your silhouette and everything changes, like, they become more tolerant, because as I was, like, climbing over rocks and moving around, I could tell he was skittish in the other area, but here he was like, oh, I don't even know what you are, and I don't even care. Maybe he's a seal or something. I don't know.
Yeah, right.
So, so as I got close enough, I was able to get into the 400 range and was able to get this. Yeah, just as the last bit of light hit him, and then that bokeh ball.
That's so fun, man.
Yeah, looks like the moon.
It does, yeah, and it's so cool to see like the wider scene. And then, so what was happening with the light on him? Was it blocked by something, or was it just clouds where it was like cloudy
this is
here,
after.
and then the sun? Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, gotcha. I was so focused on like getting a shot, and then after I got it and the light dot, I'm like, oh, this would be a good learning thing to like show people like what I was kind of seeing. So I quickly racked out and grabbed a 100mm shot just to show the area. Yeah. So it was neat to just kind of get that to work out.
Well, and how cool right there to see, like what you can do with a telephoto lens versus a wider lens, you know what I mean? And getting close and stuff like that, right? And so, versatility of a 100 to 400, but showing like, hey, the shot here was 400 only. Like that wider shot, even if his head was up and the light was on him, it's just like, meh, nothing.
Yeah, it's boring. Yeah. It's not interesting. Yeah, definitely.
Exactly. Yeah.
Definitely. But it's always fun. I love light and finding weird little pockets or little things that are happening where there's a reflective thing that can just create some interest, because like even after I continued shooting him afterwards and got even him like picking up little shell or whatever stuff, but they're just like, okay, blue background, like they're just uninteresting. Like this created that extra interest because the light was insane. We even remove that ball and the light is beautiful on him.
It sure is.
But that little ball to me creates this other little element, right?
Definitely.
So after I left him, because the light, I don't know if that was actually right after, but anyways, at one point I looked and the sky was just like last bit of light, and it's just was all these rays, and I'm like, oh my God, give me a gull, give me anything. So luckily there was terns floating through, so I was able to just grab this quick little frame. I was so lucky that this guy actually flew high enough into the right area.
Perfect.
So yeah, it worked out really, really well. Yeah,
dude, what a shot, right? Isn't it funny? Like, so I think this is like the two really neat, different like aspects of being a wildlife photographer, and I find them both very compelling, right? The left shot is you found something within the scenery and the layout, and you visualized it, and then you made your move to get into place and stuff like that. The right photo is like, oh, this is beautiful. Bird flew through, click, you know what I mean? And I'm not trying to oversimplify the right one, because you need focus, composition, proper exposure. You need to know like, hey, I want to stay here and sit with this, right? So there is more that goes into it, but essentially it is just that moment of like, just bird flew through and there, like and
click.
Arguably, like to me, like my personal preference, like the right photo is like more like a wow photo, you know, with the scenery and everything.
Yeah.
The left one sure is beautiful. I'm not taking anything away from it. But it's like that sky and everything, and the bird shows so well in that turn photo on the right. But it is so funny how it can go from like, all right, I got to work this and like figure this out and dial this in and get everything to line up versus like, oh yeah, there we go. Just flew through the sky.
Yep. Oh, definitely. Yeah, I agree 100% because that's exactly what it was. It was just like turn. I'm like, oh shit. Okay, give me a goal. I mean, it was like anything, just fly in front of this. It was like dial in settings and just wait. And then, like I said, luckily this guy came in the perfect spot. So yeah, it was a fun little outing. It was like, you know, it wasn't crazy amount of opportunities, but the ones I did get, I think
beautiful
it was,
stuff.
Worth it.
Yeah, for sure. So then right before we went to back over to Bonavista, back over to the east side of the island to meet up with you, we were staying in this area. This was in Grossmorn Provincial Park, and we were staying at this campground just outside of it, but it was along this like water, like you know, one of the big inlets that come in there.
Yeah.
And we were staying in this area near Tablelands because we wanted to kind of explore that and see that, and we had done some hikes, and every day we stayed. I think we stayed there 4 nights.
Okay.
Yeah. Emily's confirming right over here, 4 nights. And which is good because I can never remember the timing of stuff. But yeah, anyway, we stayed for 4 nights. Every day was like really windy, or at least windy enough. Like the water was always like a mess, and we were hiking sunsets usually, and we just weren't in like a getting up early. I mean, we were just like waking up at 8 o'clock, sleeping in, just enjoying it. The sun wasn't coming up over. There was like big mountains and everything behind, which actually I'll jump ahead here and show like this was the view, right? This was the view right out the back of the van. Like that's what we looked out at every day.
Wow.
But pretty much every morning we woke up, it was breezy. The water surface was a mess. I hadn't seen much around, and I was just honestly, I was like in photography break mode. You know, I wasn't really trying to shoot hard or anything like that. And so. Anyway, this was the last morning. It was the morning we actually drove to Bonavista. We woke up earlier because we wanted to get an early start on the drive, right? So we actually actively did. And dude, like I do every morning, I wake up, right? And usually when we're in more, in campground, more public places, we have all of our shades down. And so I wake up and I just like pop open one of the shades just to look out. You're always curious, like, what's it look like out today? And I look out and I'm like, oh damn. I'm like, I'm going out. I'm like, it looks incredible out there today because it was like this, right? And I think, I can't remember. I think I walked outside to see it, and then I was like, I saw these cormorants way off in the distance, and I was like, oh, I got to get. So I went back in and got the camera. And what did I end up? I grabbed Z6iii with 28 to 400. And I knew that would be the perfect lens because I didn't know what I wanted to shoot or if I was just going to shoot the landscape, you know?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, before I really started working with the cormorants, this family of red-breasted mergansers comes by with the young, and the young are pretty big now, but it was really cool. And so I shot them a bunch of different ways. And
so is that red-breasted? Sorry,
pretty sure.
Could or maybe be looking at that.
Maybe common. But I think the shape looks more...
It looks more red-breasted.
You know, I don't know, actually, because I always forget the female commons kind of look the same way. But let's see. Let me just see if I can like lighten this up and tell.
Sorry. Yeah, because I'm like, I don't know if I've even heard or seen the red-breasted here.
I'm just trying to like jack it up
breeding.
Here. Sorry, my cursor's
I don't even know if...
a guessing game here.
Because like common would make more sense to me, but that looks red-breasted.
Kind of does. It's hard at that distance. Yeah, I mean, there's that little white patch on the side there. I feel like, I don't know if commons have that as well.
I think commons do, though.
Do they? Yeah. Anyways,
yeah.
Yeah, it was one of them. Maybe I'll look at some other photos. I might have some that show it better. But yeah, it was cool to see the family going across. So cool. And it was, again, the whole time was still the wildfire smoke was like in the air all the time, the haze.
Yeah.
So that's what this was. It wasn't like a fog or anything like that. It was just that haze was just sitting there and glowing and not blowing around. Yeah. And then I got the crossover of the Merg family and the Cormorant family coming in, which was kind of fun.
So cool. Yeah, it is fun.
Yeah. And then I really started playing. Oh, and then it was spotted sandpipers flying around. So I got that guy just cruising around out there. And then some of my favorites, because the sun got a little higher and started really getting like rays of light and showing and like highlighting the mountain range in the background.
And I just love all the graphical lines. Like, you know what I mean? Like just so many, and just even the wake from the birds is like another added little line. Like, yeah, it's just, there's something like that to me is like, it's an artistic image. Like there's something about it that feels very artistic. Yeah, really, really nice layout.
Well, it was so fun having a lens that could shoot any focal length, basically, right? Because I ended up like here around 100 millimeters. So I really got to play with it. But this is interesting. I wanted to bring this up because I did have a conversation with Emily. So here was my original composition. Let me reset this with the sky in there. So sky or not sky, you know? So commenters, everybody watching.
Yeah.
Sky. It gives more context so you can see that's the top of the mountain, but not sky really. And I thought about it because I first cropped it. I think my first crop was originally a little bit closer, like less of the sky, but I left the ridge line. But then as I was looking at it, I was like, my eye kept going up to that white. There was just so much white up top. It just kept pulling me away. And so I was like, let me try this. And so I did that and then asked Emily and she was like, she didn't even question. She was like, no sky, you know?
Yeah. And I think so too, is again, like it's all about those graphical lines. I do love the other shot. To me, it's like two shots in one because I do love seeing that other context of like, oh, you know, you kind of know there's like other mountains or something going on there.
Sure.
But I do kind of still like that image as well.
Yeah.
Just for the more context. But yeah, it's like a shot within a shot kind of thing. Yeah.
It is, yeah. And so I guess there's like slightly different intention, right? Like this definitely makes a version where you are seeing more context and the scale of everything.
Yep.
And it makes them feel even smaller in a way, I would say, you know?
It does.
Whereas this, you know, just makes it more about them and those shapes. But I think that's the intention I want to put forth more with this is it is about the shapes and the lines and where everything points there. So yeah, let us know in the comments which one you prefer, sky or no sky on that one. And then I have this one by itself. I just cropped the rest of the family out. And
get out of here.
Yeah, well, because they were just, you know what the problem was? Like this took a lot of paying attention to get all of them facing profiled.
True,
that almost never happened. There's 5 birds there. And every time, even though they were swimming in the right direction, the same direction, one's turned its head, face looked at me, and you would lose that shape. And I really was paying, I always never want to try and clone anything out and remove it and fix it, right? But I will say, like, if one of those birds was turned the wrong way, I'd have ditched it in a heartbeat, you know? Yeah. But I was paying attention. It doesn't mean I'm always still in the shoot trying to get it, right? So I was watching and watching and I finally got it. So for this one, I was like, the glow started being a little bit more on the water or in the, like back in here.
Yeah. Okay.
And so I was like, I don't want to mess with those other birds. I'll just crop them out and shoot like that. And then I did shoot one like really wide just to show the context. And you can see what the, like, look how high the sun was for this.
Right. Wow.
It was an hour and a half, hour plus after sunrise. And the mood out there was just so nice and calm and quiet. Yeah.
Which calm, like, I'm glad you're getting experience of that. Is not very often, like waters, especially in a big body of water like that.
Totally.
That you actually get it like calm. Yeah, to actually
exactly.
Get some really nice clean images.
I knew that. For sure.
Cool,
yeah.
Dude.
Yeah. So it was
really nice.
It was another one of those scenarios, Brad, where it's just like, so grateful for the way we live. Like, because if not for living in the van, being out and that's like in these spaces all the time and just getting the chance, the opportunity to wake up and be like, oh, that's amazing. Let me go photograph some birds out there.
Yeah.
There's no way that's happening. I'm not going to a place like this every morning just to see, maybe, you know?
No.
Yeah.
No. That's for sure. Yeah, really cool, man.
Yeah. All right. Let's get into our topic. I think we're doing good. We're only half hour in here. We're getting to our topic. Knock that out. Then we'll get into the picking out the hashtag photos.
Definitely.
So, yeah, we want to talk about photographing wildlife and birds from a kayak. And so I got to say, I guess we'll start it out by saying I think I want to talk a little bit about And I'll bring up both of our photos. Brad and I both have the same kayak here. So Brad's on the right.
Yeah.
That's him up in Newfoundland. That's me and Emily in Olympic National Park in Washington State on the left. And the first thing I feel like I get a reaction from people when I mention that I'm shooting from a kayak or they ask about shooting from a kayak, I feel like the first thing always is, aren't you worried about your gear? Aren't you worried about flipping and tipping and losing all your gear? And it's so funny to me because I've never worried about that. Like, it's never even crossed my mind in this, but I think it's because of the context of two things. I grew up in a family that was always like fishing and doing like small freshwater fishing in a canoe and stuff like that. Canoes are very tippy, but the more experience in them, you get comfortable and you're like, I mean, as long as you pay attention or are aware of what you're doing, you're not going to flip it, right? And then the second part is, the first kayak I've ever owned was an inflatable for two reasons. The first was price a little bit, but the major second reason was I've never had a vehicle where I could transport a hardside kayak.
Portability.
Before I had the van, I had a small sedan car, right? And I didn't have anywhere to put a kayak. I also lived in a condo. I didn't have anywhere to store a kayak. So the only way to get a kayak was to get these inflatable ones, and it just folded up and put it in the trunk of the car, and now it's in the back of our van here. And my first experience in these inflatable kayaks versus any other hardside kayak I've ever been in is the stability is unbelievable.
It is.
Right?
It's wild, actually.
And these kayaks in particular, so it's made by a company, Intex, who makes like, your backyard inflatable swimming pool and tubes and all those kinds of things. But this is specifically the Excursion Pro. It's a 2-seater kayak. Yeah, it is that one of their more durable ones. They make cheaper ones, like they make some that are like you can get for like $100 US, But my experience, which is the one I started with, is A, it was smaller, and B, it did get holes real easily. These are pretty tough.
Okay.
I've ridden up on rocks just like you have. You're sitting on the rocky shoreline there, you got to paddle in and out of that. I've scraped up on pointy tree branches submerged and everything like that. I've never, let me say this, I've never gotten a hole while out there. I have gotten leaks in it just from wear and tear and abrasion, like when it's packed up, but they've always been small, and I've always just patched them, and there's 4 patches on the one I'm using right now.
Gotcha. Wow.
Yeah. So it's not to say that inflatables aren't without their issues, but going back to that safety of your gear thing, like, dude, wouldn't you say you'd have to actively try to flip this thing?
Yeah, I mean, I was actually surprised. Like the first time I used it, I think it was last year or the year before I had bought it. Anyways, I was nervous at first, and I didn't take my gear out. At that point I only had the 500, so I was like, oh, I want to get like a dry bag or whatever to put it in, and I didn't have one, so I'm like, I'm just gonna go out. And I was like, wow, this thing is crazy stable. Like even this past recent outing I did with my daughter, I mean, she's like almost 100 pounds. At one point she was like, I don't want to get my feet wet again or something, so I just picked her up and the kayak was there, and I just literally like flopped her in it. Like we had the kayak off the shore there, but I just literally flopped her in it. The thing didn't tip, and like it was so stable. I'm like, I trust this. Like I've always said, I think if you even actively tried to tip it, I think you'd fall out before this thing would actually flip.
Yeah, I mean, you have to like hold the other side and try and take it with you. Yeah,
I think if I leaned far enough out, I'd fall out the other side before this thing would flip over on me.
So here's the best experience I can give of how stable this is. And we'll show some photos later and talk about it. Emily and I used it not too long ago. Well, I guess it was a few months ago in Florida in the springs to do with our underwater housing. I was getting in and out of the kayak in deep water. I couldn't touch the bottom. So it's not like I was able to like propel myself up. Just yank on the side, haul myself up in it.
Right.
Just yank myself in, dude. Like that. And it never tipped. It wasn't ever close to tipping, you know? Now she was in the kayak as well. So there was some stability there.
Weight. Yeah,
but I'm guaranteeing, I can tell you 100%, I could get in and out of this kayak in deep water without ever tipping the damn thing. The other thing, for anybody that has fear of inflatables, that I will add this, another positive is every one of those chambers is separate, right? So the bottom is a separate inflation, the left side and the right side. So you can have a full puncture in the bottom. You are not sinking. You're still you're going to sit low in the water, but those two on the side are 100% keeping you inflated and going.
Definitely.
So that's the other thing. I've never had a fear of using it, is like, even if I did something stupid and ran up on a rock and it just completely tore it, and then I had to paddle back, listen, it's going to be slow. I'm going to be sitting low, but
you're not wet.
I'm not wet. And unless it went through the bottom and the inside, like the top of the bottom, I'm not even getting wet either, right?
No, exactly.
So you'd have to have a pretty bad disaster to get water in it and actually sink the thing, right?
Definitely. Yeah.
You can completely deflate one side or the other, and it's still completely fine. I've done that with my 500 millimeter when I was shooting loons. Couldn't get low enough, so I would deflate one side, let it go low, lay prone in the thing, and shoot. And then I had the pump with me, the hand pump, and I would just inflate it back up, and off I go. So the biggest downside I would say about it is efficiency in the water. They aren't efficient in the water, right? Like if you were going to paddle long distance anywhere, if you're going to paddle with current or lots of wind, they aren't great for that, right? They get blown around, they sit high, and they just aren't efficient in the water, right? They don't track well or anything like that. So this is not a, let me get this to go do a long distance kayak kind of kayak. That being said, I've paddled plenty of long distance with it. You get there, you just take your time. We're using them strictly for photography and just sightseeing, you know?
Exactly.
We had it out in the ocean here the other day, dude.
Yeah, that's true. You did. Yeah. That's right. Right. So I mean, you can get it where you need to get, really, basically. Like I said, it may not be as efficient as the hard shell ones, but yeah, I mean, like my daughter and I were out, and we were out for like 3 or 4 hours in it, like paddling around pretty much constant the whole time, like, you know, into different areas. So it was really good. I mean, they inflate so fast. Like you can get this thing inflated within 5 minutes. I had this whole thing set up within like 5-10 minutes.
Yep.
Right. And like deflating is super easy. It packs up super well.
Totally.
Again, like we're not sponsored by this company. I want to put this like we're not. It's just that we love that product. I think it just fits.
Yeah.
Again, my experience, I just want to preface this too, like I'm super novice at it, only been out a few times, shot once, like did it for actual photography. Ray's got tons of experience in it, but I quickly seen the huge benefit in it, and just like how stable it was, and like I'm now looking forward to many more outings in that kayak. But I just think it's fantastic. I take it over a hardtop anytime, or a hard shell. I'm on my 4th one of these right now, and that is because I have used them for workshops, right? My loon workshops. And during my loon workshops, I put enough use on them for probably like an average person for using a year, right? I'm doing 2 outings a day, every day for 3 weeks almost, right? Multiple hours in the water every single time. And the reason I replace them is when they do start getting these little tiny leaks, some of them I just like struggle to find, or if they're like in a weird spot to patch. And here's the deal, right? I could take the time and effort to patch it, but they're so cheap. I actually I'm like, you know what? This one's getting a little bit worn. I just throw it out and buy a new one. That's how cheap they are, right? So, you know, that's the other thing, right? They're cheap enough that if you do have to replace it in a year or two, it's still like not that big a deal, you know? Not that big a deal. Yeah.
But the one I'm using now, I've had for going on 2 years. And so that's because we're not using it nearly as much. I didn't work with it this past year and stuff like that. And the one other thing is I'll say is photographically, right? They do sit a little bit higher, but because of that stability, you can full on lean over the edge and shoot. And that's the thing that I've had. I've had tons of clients out with me in this specific kayak. Some of them experienced in the water, many of them never been in a kayak or never photographed from a kayak. And so I don't even have to do a talk with them about, you know, make sure you don't lean over, any of that. They want to get low with a loon in the water, and sometimes they don't even let me know. They just go for it. And I'm like, whoa, you know, it throws me off a little bit, but like, again, no fear of tipping. Like I've never had a close call, not even a little close call. Awesome. So, you know, I feel like we can confidently say these things are great and stable for photography. So let's talk about, now that we've given you our plug for these inflatable kayaks, let's talk about what we use them for. And so the first thing I'm going to show you here, I'm just going to scrub through this because the video is shaky as hell.
the concept here is using a kayak to get to a place to then photograph, right? Yep. So not even using the kayak to photograph from within it. We're just using it to like, hey, there's an island out there, or there's some place I want to get to photograph and maybe get in the edge of the water that I can't get to by land. And so use the kayak. And so one of the first places I really started using it was in these marshes in New Jersey. And so, you know, I'll just scrub through it, but here, you know, you can see it's like big open water. But all we're trying to do is get out to like some of these marshy lands like this, where there's exposed land at low tide. So we take the kayak out, paddle out, beach it, and then we shoot and walk around in the shallow water. But then, you know, you get some photos like this. You get out to these areas where honestly, you'd just be scoping these birds. Like it's far enough out. Like, you can't just walk and swim there. There was a deep channel that I couldn't get through. So I needed to use a kayak, and I get to go out and photograph all these shorebirds in this beautiful habitat. I ran workshops out there for years, and it's actually been like, dude, I think it's 2, if not, actually it's probably been like 3 or 4 years since I've been out there, Brad. Really? But the timing is going to work out. Me and Emily are going to be back in the area in New Jersey, and nice. I think I'm going to try and get her out. I already have the weekend set aside where the tides are good, so we're just hoping for good weather. But she's never been out there, so I'm excited to take her out because she loves marsh. And so, we'll be able to get her out there. Nice. The one other thing I've used it for is actually using the kayak to tow my floating hide to a place where I wanted to use it. Or if it was just me shooting, I could put the floating hide on, like assembled on the front of the kayak, paddle out because it was too far to just get in the hide and go walking, right? Again, so deep water currents and stuff like that. But I woke up super early, towed my floating hide out to the spot, beached the kayak, got into the marsh with the floating hide, and then got in the pool with these black skimmers flying and did all that. So that was another use case of being able to use this kayak. And so you used it recently for the same kind of thing.
Yeah, so like even at this particular lake, so we had gone there because I'm well aware that there's like a family of loons. So I was like, my daughter was like super excited to see, you know, potentially see some loons and such. So we got up this morning, went out. And within that area, there's like always these like, I don't know, that's what I love exploring about different lakes. There's always like these little coves, there's little spots with little tiny shorelines you can get off. So yeah, so at one point we were kind of just cruising along, and you know, we were like, oh, okay, let's have a little snack. Let's kind of like hang out in this one area. And as we were cruising to this one little cove that looked interesting, I kept seeing these birds like flying out, like they'd be perched on a spruce tree, fly out over, catch stuff, come back. So nice. At first glance, I was like, oh, these are probably yellow belly fly catchers or something like that. But then, of course, I was hearing that distinct like little squeak sound like that waxwing makes. So as we were kind of like having a little lunch, just like behind there, you see some of the spruce trees. Well, there was another little spot where there was like this really nice spruce that had some beautiful lichen cover. This one waxwing kept going out, coming back, going out. So I was like, Lily, I'm just going to scoot up. So I had the 100-400, and this guy let me kind of go in pretty close and get a couple frames of it. So yeah, it was just great because other than that, like if I was looking at from where, you know, you parked and you launched, this thing was a dot. Like you would never get close to it. So it just proves that you can, like, you know, say get into different areas and explore and see what's around.
And plus, like, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, it's just fun. It's just fun doing it that way sometimes.
Fun. Oh, definitely. Yeah, I think it's fantastic. And then it's like, you know, nobody else has ever probably been over there to explore some birds because they're probably not taking the chance to do that. So, yeah, I can see opportunities. Like, there's so many places that I'm thinking about that, like, I know, like, even in Terranceville, there's a spot that, like, I can't get to, but when I'm looking from the area and I scope out through or binoculars, like, it's full of shorebirds. It's like this mud flat area, and I'm like, it's going to be so much fun to actually finally get back there and actually look at this area. So, you know,
that's so cool.
Like, using a kayak to get there is a great tool to have.
Hell yeah. All right. So another version of doing the same thing. This one's a bit more extreme. Not many of you are going to be doing this, but again, it at least illustrates the concept, right? And so this was, Emily and I used the kayak to get to these different birds along these Florida springs, basically a long river, you know, and so, and we found out where they were hanging, and then set the kayak aside. Emily stayed in it actually, and then got this video of me. But there I am out of the kayak shooting, and this was, photographing this cormorant. This was nuts, dude. You can see how close I was. So I was shooting this guy at 10 millimeter, and I'll show you guys a photo of this next. But you can see how he's preening, by the way. Yeah. He's not even looking chill at me.
Yeah.
So chill, like that bird.
If any time you're photographing any species like that and you want to know whether or not they're like relaxed and they're accepting of your prints, the minute they, like you just saw that, he can't even see you. His head is behind his back. That's like, super, super comfortable.
Preening to me is like one of the most obvious times, because like feeding, sometimes they're like, I need food. Like they might just push a little bit further and feed, and they're still keeping an eye out, right? But the preening thing is like, they're so, vulnerable and relaxed at that moment. And so anyway, this was one of the photos I got from that moment.
Love this series
of being able to do that. So another area where we used it, to start photographing from the water. And so that's what we'll switch to now, right? So that's the other obvious opportunity, right? Is using the kayak to actually be out in the water and photographing it. So I'll just play this. This was in Caddo Lake in Texas. So cypress trees growing right out of the water. And so we paddle out there, and then I'll show you a handful of photos we got from that. And I'll tell you, this is where it's challenging, folks. Like this is where like photographing from the water it sounds great in theory, but then you do it in practice, and boy, is it hard. And here's what I mean by hard. If you are a photographer at the level of where you are really particular about your compositions and the layout of everything, and the foreground and background alignment and stuff like that, try and do that from a kayak. It can be dead calm out there. That thing is still spinning, moving, rotating, slightly moving forward, slightly moving backward. It's tough, right? But it can still be done, right? So you get better at it with experience. You start to understand, like, all right, if I want to line this up, I need some forward trajectory, and then I'm going to glide through that and then shoot my background. Because if I try to stay in one spot, it's just moving too much. And, there's things like this, like the shots like this, we were specifically trying to line up certain backgrounds, and something like this, this was like, I wanted it in that one beam of light, dude. Like we paddled me and Emily into position to get that one bright beam of light lined up there, and we're able to do that, So it's not to say it's impossible, but just be prepared, right? If your first outing, and this is why I want to bring it up, if you do your first outing and you're like, this sucks, this is impossible, just be patient with it, right? Give yourself some patience, practice with it. You'll get the hang of it. And trust me, like there's going to be times where you miss shots because the wind hit and spun you, or you had the background lined up, but then it started spinning. Then you went to pick up the paddle to do that. And then by the time you get back with your camera on the bird moved out of the spot, especially if they're in the water and swimming and stuff like that. So it can have its moments of frustration. And I've talked to photographers that are like, have gone through that. I'm going to get a kayak. They go out and they're like 1 or 2 tries and they're like, they never do it again.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
My message is stick with it. Like, trust me, it can be worth it, as you can see. And I think you experienced some of that with shooting in the water a little bit, right, recently.
Yeah. So just before we go ahead, like that last shot, just to kind of, even for my own self, like, so when you were lining up a shot like that, are you coming at the bird, or were you guys cruising across that scene? Do you understand what I'm saying?
It's long enough ago, I can't fully recall, but if I'm not mistaken, we're probably just like angling in, right? And so I think we sort of angled them because we both wanted that lineup, right? And so if I line it up head on with the kayak, Emily's right in front of me. I can't get the shot, right? We had, and that's right, it's different when you're by yourself, but it's also nice when you have another person, because you can kind of take turns. If you really need a specific lineup, one person can paddle for the other person. So there is an advantage to a 2-person kayak. And this is why, like, whenever I did my loon workshops, and if I ever get back to it again, I paddled for the person. Like, I didn't give them their own kayak. I don't understand how anybody can do that. Like, honestly, to give somebody a kayak and put them in it to go out and try and photograph stuff, if they've never done it before, especially, like, they're just going to be missing so much.
So much.
I'd be in the back paddling everybody and getting them in the position, spinning them the right way, locking them into the same spot so they can get that line up of whatever the background was that we were trying for with the loons, or, like any kind of thing like that. And it allowed them to just sit there and shoot with the camera, right? So if you've got a significant other, a kid that you can get to paddle for you,
right? Like in my case with Lily,
yeah, right.
Well, as she's
teach them how to paddle,
experience.
And they can get you dialed in on the stuff.
Exactly.
But yeah, for this one, Brad, I'm pretty sure like we picked the trajectory and then like slow down, glide through it. Emily gets the shot when she cruised through, and then a couple seconds later, I glide through that path, and then we hope for the lineup. And if we didn't get it, then you back up and try again.
Back up. Yep. Definitely.
It is a lot of that kind of moving around stuff. And you can see, thankfully, this was a day where we had calm water. You know.
Yeah. Really nice.
And that's honestly it too. Like, most of the time, unless if you're shooting any bird in the water or you're trying to include the water, you don't want to be out there when it's all windy and the water's all ripply and a mess. Like,
it's not going to look good.
It's not going to look good anyway. So you really do want to go out when it's calmer anyway, which makes it a little bit easier because you're not getting blown all around. But the other part of the kayaking experience is like scouting. You just go out without a camera and paddle around your local waterways and figure out where the birds are and stuff like that. And then you do that in the wind, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and so like to go back to the difficulty thing, like so, this particular outing that Lily and I did, like this was the first time I was actually taking. Finally got myself a dry bag, like threw it in there. I had the 100, 400, so it could fit in nice and compact. So kind of we went out and we did find the loons. Like it was so cool, dude. Like we were setting up the kayak, and as we were setting up, because I didn't hear any loons, and I'm like, I don't know. And it was I thought it was a little bit late, maybe, like that the chicks were going to be like really big. So anyways, as we're kind of like just blowing things up, all of a sudden I hear one calling, and I'm like,
nice.
Oh, Lily. I'm like, I think it's coming. It flew right over her head and over the kayak and just landed right out in front of us. And I'm like, what a cool experience, like
That's
for her
neat.
Especially.
So you got to watch the like water ski landing, just
I
slide on the belly.
Land. Yeah, slid on the belly and everything. It was so cool. Yeah. And then as soon as that one landed, I heard the other one call, and I'm like, oh, they're here. Like there's good chance there's a family. Now I didn't know if this was like an intruder bird, but anyways, so we jumped in, paddled out, and found the family, and they had two little chicks with them in the back kind of corner. I think it was like, again, so totally learning experience for me. Like, of course they were a little bit nervous. Like it's an area that there's a campground that like there's a camping section for campers, off to the side on this lake. And I kind of chose this area because I thought maybe they'd be a little bit more tolerant to stuff in the water, because like you can rent a kayak and you can there's canoes there and there's other. So I figured it won't be their first time seeing something on the water. But yeah, I could tell right away they were a little bit weary, a little bit. This I think was probably the male, the one that flew in.
Yeah, most likely.
He came over and kind of checked us out. This was like before the sun even kind of came up, and it was one of those like really hazy days again. It would have been, I think, an incredible sunrise. It would probably like the mist because it was a little bit colder of the day, but yeah, like you could it just stayed for, I think, even like 45 minutes after sunrise before the sun actually kind of came through. Yeah, but it was still nice. Like Lily got to see a chance. I mean, the shot was still not too bad.
Beautiful.
So we hung out with them for a little bit. Again, I need to get my experience level up with like what they can tolerate and how their behavior is, and I didn't want to push them too much.
Sure.
Again, like we saw the chicks, and and then we kind of went out, along with our business and kind of like paddled around, and as we were cruising one of the other sides, I heard the calls of a greater yellowleg. So I was like, oh, where's he calling from? All of a sudden, I saw him perched up on one of these larger rocks that was just off from the shoreline.
Nice.
So, dude, this is where, like, I realized how difficult. So I see this, and I'm like, okay, so how am I, like, so again, it's almost like starting a whole new type of photography. It's like, okay, well, how am I approaching this? If I go directly at them, is that going to spook them? Is it going to give me the lineup I want? Well, now Lily's in front, like you said. Lily's in front. This is going to make it more difficult. So we kind of like paddled out.
Like, all right, Lily, getting back, paddle me in.
Exactly. Well, and that was a thought, actually, dude. When we were setting up like who was going to go where, I'm like, maybe I should get in the front and have her in the back. Yeah. So that way I have like full, but I threw her in the front. But so yeah, I think I paddled out far enough away, and then I'm like, I'm just going to cruise in and glide right past this rock and just kind of give me the lineup. And I mean, dude, like, I'll make a joke about it. Like, you ever see these people that are like novice drivers or not used to, like, in a parking lot trying to back up, go forward, back up, go forward. This is what this was like. It was like, okay, I went past them. Oh, crap. I went too fast.
Yeah.
Okay, Lily, let's back up. Let's back up. Let's back up. As I'm backing up, let's get some shots. And so the whole thing I was trying to do, especially with this guy, was so in around, you see here around 200.
Yeah.
The shoreline on this lake had a bunch of different rocks. So it was like there was multiple times where like there was too big of a rock, so a big white spot, and that's where it's hit. So there was little gaps where the spruce tree would come down that I could lay him in that particular area. So it was just a bunch of that, dude. Just
you did great, dude. I love this layout.
It worked out. Yeah, I think it's a really nice shot. I think it shows the habitat really well. It was cool to see him way out on that particular rock.
Right.
And
yeah.
He just hung out. Like, he gave me a ton of opportunities before he decided to kind of move on. Yeah, did that one, same area, went in a little bit tighter.
Awesome.
You give like a portrait, but still context, gives you the location there, the environment. So yeah, it was neat. It was a neat little first experience and made me realize, like, wow. Because, I mean, like you said, like, when you really get into compositions and you're really nitpicky about all the elements within, it's so much easier when you're laying or you're stood up and you're not in a moving object that you can make those subtle, very subtle adjustments. Well, like you said, when you're in a kayak and it's there's a split second where you get that line up. Yeah. Oh, okay, now it moved.
Yep.
Right now I'm not where I need to be. Like, it's so tough. And again, super calm day, no movement on the water, but just your movements and just like the trajectory of how you were going. You just keep gliding along, so it's it's a challenge for sure.
The kayak is literally never holding still, you know?
It's not.
Like, you would need like 2 anchors on each end in the water to like do that. And even then it's probably still going to like move somewhat. Yeah, it's just not happening. So,
definitely.
Yeah. Anyway, go ahead. I just want to say I love seeing the difference in these with the composition of 200 millimeter versus 400 millimeter, and you can see you're basically in the same spot. You can see like that's the rock that's like right there just in the background. So yeah, really, really cool there. But sorry, didn't mean to cut you off. You were going to say.
No, I just think it's like, again, a great example, a reminder of like being able to get into habitats or different angles within a habitat that you wouldn't be able to get from land, that just going to give you like different photographic opportunities. And I think that's what I'm looking forward to more and more now with the kayak, is like going out with a very versatile lens. Like in your case, like you've got that 28 to 400. I mean, you have the 1 to 4 as well, but carrying a versatile lens that then is going to allow you to do like tighter portraits if the subject allows, or like wider because the environment and like you go on these lakes and stuff, like they're so beautiful. Like there's so many like different textures, and just the trees look nice, and the locations you guys have gone, like with the cypress trees, like you want to show that. So like having that lens is so nice. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it, dude. It's going to be fun moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And you just saw a video there of me just showing a client shooting loons in a beautiful lake, because you were talking about the beautiful lakes. I'm like, here we go. Let's see it.
Yeah,
and then another thing I want to talk about too is like, I do really think like if you're going to do this specifically to photograph birds on the water. So if we're talking, different waterfowl, loons, things like that, it is important to get that low perspective. So you don't want a kayak where you're stuck up high shooting, or you can't lean over a little bit. So like I have seen some kayak setups and what people are shooting with them. And I've seen even some where people have like mounted a tripod with a gimbal. It's like, so this big lens is like right there, but I'm like, you're shooting like 3 feet off the water at that point. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm, again, not to say you're not going to get anything good, and not to say it's going to be horrible, but like you are really limiting yourself there. And I do think like I've seen it where it is like that mounted tripod in front of you. Like, I mean, what are you getting? Like that's as far as you can like turn like this way to this way. Yep. Like you're really limiting where you have to shoot. And now you got to spin your kayak to do everything else. Like that seems, to me, I will say that seems severely limiting. The thing I've loved the most about using these kayaks and the way we're shooting especially since the advent of mirrorless, is, dude, I am hanging that camera right off the edge using the flip screen. So this is another time where getting good at using your flip screen matters. Like you can see how like this is, like that's the opposite shoreline right there. The head's almost intersecting it, right? So that's how low I'm getting. I'm not exaggerating. I'm not exaggerating when I say plenty of times. You can get, I've gotten my camera so low, it's like you just have to watch, like I hold my hand under the body of the camera so I'm not dipping it in there, right? So you can get it right to the water level, 100%, right? And you can get these shots like this where you are truly water level from the boat. I'm leaning over, I'm holding it, I'm using my flip screen to do that. Although actually this one's going 500 f4. This was the old one with the DSLR. So I was just bent over.
Deflated?
Getting it really low. Yeah, it may have been. But yeah, like some of this stuff, you know, here's 100 to 400 hanging right off the edge, you know what I mean? Getting these shots. So you're getting like that true water level look, you know, and just having the versatility to be able to like shoot out the right side, shoot out the left side, you know what I mean? I think makes more sense than having it like mounted and stuck up in front of you. But that's just our experience, you know? Yeah.
So with your positioning inside the kayak, are you sat just in like the regular paddling position? You're leaning over. Have you ever like got yourself up on your knees to then lean out over? Have you ever tried doing any
when I'm by myself?
Positions?
When I'm by myself in there for sure. I've tried some of the others, but I'm trying to think of like the last few years. I don't know, I feel like I've just gotten enough experience of shooting from that position, of being that way. I just generally stay sat like that, but the knees thing can be good just to like mix it up when you're by yourself. So you're like, you know, staying more comfortable. And that's one other thing I will say about these is like, they're pretty damn comfortable, man. You get a good seat in there. I actually have done aftermarket seats that have a little bit of a higher backrest, and the strap, there's clips on the inside, and you get really good back support. The whole thing is just soft and, you know, like it's like sitting on an inflatable thing. So it's pretty damn, there's nothing hard or uncomfortable in it. And then, we'll just end it talking about like, you know, this is one where I shot from the kayak using the underwater housing. So we're paddling around, getting near the bird, and then when it dives, just shoving the underwater housing over the edge. So cool. And shooting blindly because like you couldn't see anything, you know, but it was 10 millimeters, so you kind of can't miss. But yeah, I gotta say overall, you know, like the experience of shooting from a kayak is absolutely amazing. I really do love it. I think it's so fun. You know, you get to be in these beautiful places. It's so fun just being on the water, even without the photography. You'd have to plan it. You're not just like popping out for a quick outing. It's a planned thing, but I mean, countless photos. I can't even talk about how many photos I've gotten that just were never happening without it, you know?
Yeah. Oh, I agree. And I mean, worst case, you're out exploring. Like, you know, it's almost like going for a hike. You're exploring a whole new area. It could, you know, opportunities could arise, or you could trigger a thought of coming back to a particular area because you found a certain species or the light was incredible or whatever. But I think it's another great tool for sure to have.
Absolutely.
In your toolkit. Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. All right. So over to our hashtag. Let's do it. The Wildlife Photo Chat Challenge. Thank you guys. Thank you all for submitting and tagging photos and stuff like that. So just to remind everybody, it's just the hashtag is Wildlife Photo Chat Challenge, all one word, no spaces. Hashtag that on Instagram, and we're going to go ahead and pick one of your photos. So the last episode when we asked for it was the high key challenge, because that's what we talked about in that episode. And so you can see we got a bunch of great photos here. I just wanted to kind of sift through some of them, but then we each picked one out. So we'll start with you, Brad. You went ahead and picked this from Gnome Girl Photography. That's a pretty good one.
It is, and I like, again, so the action of course just spoke to me right away, like that wing position up, the snow kind of like bursting out from the feet, or from that action play of the wings coming up, and then I guess again, like for me, like when I talked about in the past, like we were talking about snow, like not blowing the snow out so much that you're not getting that detail in it, and that's what I love about this. It's like, here's a white bird, white scene, like, you know, like there's this opportunity or chance that you're going to blow everything out, that you lose all that context and detail, but the photographer was able to, to set the settings just right that you're seeing enough details and everything to see all that snow bursting up. So I think it's a fantastic image.
Yeah, I love, like you said, that movement of snow doing that. And I really enjoy how, like, the angle that it worked out at, the head is fully encompassed in that wing, right? Yep. It's not like the back edge or the leading edge is intersecting, because I feel like those takeoff wing lifts, I feel like 90% of them that I do, they're like part of that wing is intersecting right in the head, and it always feels like a little awkward and weird to me.
I agree.
And so, this one doesn't have any of that, which is really, really cool. So, and they're stunning birds.
Shot.
And that curve of the snow here, too. That curve is so nice. It's not just straight. It's not jagged. Just a beautiful curve, Really, really nice. So great job on that one.
Yes, really well done.
I picked this one. This one was... somebody submitted these via email, which unfortunately we won't be able to do. I did offer it to this person one time, but we got to stick with the Instagram hashtag. I know that limits some people that don't use Instagram, and I feel bad about that, but for ease of use, for us to be able to just kind of do this every time, we got to just pick one platform and go with it. So that's where we spend most of our time. So going forward, it will be Instagram only, hashtag there. We do want to encourage you to share something more recent. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But anyway, let me get to this photo. This was from Gaurav Patil, and gorgeous high key. I love that. The layout of this, the moment, I'm pretty sure it's an oxpecker flying between the two giraffes. And this is one of those where it feels like just like decent light shot up against like a nice cloudy sky or white sky, something like that. Because I feel like so many of the African wildlife sort of high key or black and white images are fighting against like harsh sun, and sometimes I think it really does work well, you know what I mean? But this one feels like I don't see any of that like crazy harshness of the sun or awful shadows anywhere. And just that layout and the balance of this, there's so much balance in this one. I love it. I really do.
Yeah, and for me too, I love that like that lower giraffe is like it's looking at the bird, and then the one above is kind of like glancing down at the bird as well. Yeah. And then there's like little hidden details of like the bird on the back, and then there's one like on the neck. Like there's one on the neck of the other one, I believe it looks like.
Oh, really?
So there.
Right there. I didn't even see that one
right there. Yeah, you're right. There's like these little hidden elements within, but yeah, just the layout works really, really well. I agree. It's really well composed. So yeah, great job.
Yeah, so great job, both of you guys. And, unfortunately, we love a bunch of these photos for sure. But we just have to pick one to talk about. So you can also see them on the website. So when you go to the Wildlife Photo Chat page on my website, you'll see some of the recent ones that are hashtagged there. So for next episode, well, let's say for the next one we choose, our recording is still a little weird right now, so I don't know if it's going to be the exact next episode when we choose this, the challenge photo, but our next Wildlife Photo Chat challenge is low key. So this is going back to, was it episode 2?
Two. Yep.
Episode 2. I think we talked all about it. So if you missed that one, go back and watch that. At the end of that episode, we show and talk all about our techniques and concepts photographing low key, so black background photos. And so we want to see your versions of that for the next challenge. And again, we'll pick a favorite. So here's the deal, guys. All you got to do is just add the hashtag. You can add it to existing photos, but the way our system is working, if you tag something, let's say that you posted a year or two ago, it's going to show up really low, and it's actually going to be potentially below some of our last challenges, right? So it might even be below what we're seeing from this high key one. So your best bet is to keep it recent, or even better, post a new photo. If it's something really old, maybe you want to repost it, get it up there, get it fresh again. That totally would work. But our goal is to encourage you to get out and use some of these techniques to take some photos. But by all means, go ahead and tag them if you don't get a chance to do that. So
certainly. And I mean, we'll do our best to scroll down through just in case we miss. But I think as our challenges continue, like as we keep putting those out there and more people hashtag, like some may get lost if it's an older tag or an older folder, photo being tagged.
Yeah, that's totally it, right? That's exactly how it's going to be. So with that, thank you so much for watching. We had a lot of fun, and come back next week.
Yeah.
All puffins, baby. We're going to talk all about our experience. Me and Emily got to meet up with Brad and his family and spend a lot of time with the puffins. So we're going to have a lot of photos from that, a lot of fun stories. And depending on when we record it, we may be picking from the low key challenge, but if it's too soon, like if we record again in a couple of days, we're going to give that one a little bit of a break. So in any case, join us for that one. Thank you so much. Leave comments below. Let us know some of those questions we asked, or even when me and Brad were talking about like which ones we liked or different things. Let us know. We love the feedback we've been getting. It's been really, really fun.
Definitely. And we might have a surprise guest. So stay tuned for next week.
Yes, that's right. That's right. We'll see if that comes out to fruition. All right. Definitely. Thanks so much, everybody.
All right.
See you next week.
Take care, everyone.